Let's get kicking and get started, Rob G. The Packers. So obviously, I mean, they're 7-2. Remember, they ran off 7 wins in a row after the stinker in the opener when the Saints had to play down. Where'd they play? In Jacksonville? It was in Florida.
Yeah, it was the neutral site game in Jacksonville.
And I don't know. The Packers just didn't show up. I mean, you remember, it was awful. Aaron Rodgers had 2 picks and no touchdowns. It was benched for Jordan Love.
One of them in the red zone, which he hadn't done like in 5 years before that.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't turn the ball over. Am I right? Like,
no.
You can say a lot of things about him. He's seldom, every once in a while, will have a pick or 2, and that'll be about it. But most of the time, he's pretty clean and doesn't do that. And you were right. Last year, they had the best red zone offense in like 20 years in the NBA.
Crazy.
As far as red zone efficiency.
Right.
Like crazy. But the big story isn't just Aaron Rodgers could be back, and it looks like he's going to play on Sunday against Seattle. But OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., cleared waivers. And for people who don't understand the language, the bad teams going from the worst team all the way to the first can pick him from off of waivers, but you got to pick up his contract or whatever is attached to him. So all the teams passed on him. They don't want to pick up that contract, right? Rob G, there's 2 years left.
And Cleveland put a lot of provisions when they released him that said, if you pick him up, you got a per game bonus, you got this bonus, and they're like, well, not only is it a huge cap number, but I also got to pay this guy, double whatever his normal salary would be because of all these bonuses they put in there.
Exactly. So no one was going to touch that contract. But now he's a free agent. Now that he cleared waivers, he can pick and choose. He's going to get paid already from the Browns, and then teams can offer him money on top of it. So there's 3 teams out there that have emerged, right? It's the Kansas City Chiefs, the Saints, he's from Louisiana, and the Packers. There was some talk about Seattle, Rob G. I think that's cooled down, right?
Yeah. So far, latest reports coming out of ESPN on Wednesday was that it had been narrowed down to those 3 teams. And we also heard a little bit about the Patriots trying to get involved, but I just don't see that happening either.
Yeah, and he wants to play for a team that has a shot to win. It's been some bad road for him between the Giants and the bad Eli Manning years at the end.
One playoff game in his career.
Yeah, see, so he wants to be in the playoffs. He wants to be on the big stage. But the Packers reportedly have made an offer, and they offered him the veterans minimum to play for the Packers. And right away, Rob G's panties got into a bunch because he's like, here we go, same old Packers. Why don't they go over the top? Why don't they just say, we want them and we're going to pay whatever and who cares? The Packers just don't operate that. And Rob G, I think it's because they don't have true ownership. I really do.
Right.
Because if there's one guy, do you know what I mean? I think the Packers would have been different the last. They're publicly held, and it's run by a chairman and a committee. So it ain't go get OBJ no matter what it costs us.
Right. This isn't Jerry Jones saying, I will not have it. I don't care what you have to do. Get me Deion Sanders. It's
exactly. It's not that. So the Packers haven't been that way. I remember a few years ago, I was astonished. They had every player on their roster, Rob G, this is a fact, was drafted by the Packers except for one guy. Can you believe that?
That's wild.
That's unbelievable.
In today's day and age of the NFL and free agency and people changing teams, that is crazy.
It was like 4 or 5 years ago. I can't remember the exact year, but I remember reading that and looking at the roster and they had drafted everybody except for one guy. And that's like the Packer way. They've always been into that, even though they haven't always gotten Aaron Rodgers help. But anyway, here's help, but they don't make the big splash. So now OBJ is going to consider it. He hasn't snapped to a decision. He could have easily picked the team today and said, okay, I heard all the offers. Let's go. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to practice. I'm ready to get my uniform on. But it didn't happen. And let's hear from Devontae Adams, the star Packer wide receiver who was all-world last year and still playing well this year, And he's been on the Packers for a while, and he's not expecting a big box under the Christmas tree. Can I say that?
A couple weeks ago with the Gilmore stuff, you said you've learned not to get your hopes up over that stuff around here. Where is your hope level with the Odell stuff right now?
Yeah, I learned my lesson with that, but they're up pretty high. I'm not gonna lie. Hopes are up, they're pretty high. Been talking to him a little bit, so we'll see what happens. But like I've said previously, I don't expect anything to happen. But if it does, that'd be great.
All right, Rob G, I'm gonna give you the floor.
You know what, Rob? we got a few minutes. I don't even need all the few minutes to get my point across. Look, this is the same old Green Bay Packers. To your point, a couple years ago, they had an entire roster of homegrown players, and that does not work in today's NFL when guys.
Was that true? Was that a couple of years ago? Oh, you mean the years I was talking about?
Exactly.
Right,
you can't have a situation where you're only banking on drafting and develop. That will get you so far, provided you got the right quarterback. And thankfully for them, for like 2.5 decades, they've had the right quarterbacks with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. But Green Bay coming into this season with the whole Aaron Rodgers fiasco and is he going to retire? Is he going to come back? Is he going to get traded? When he decided that he was going to return to Green Bay, the clock was ticking. It didn't help matters either that Davante Adams, who has led their team in every single receiving category for like 5 straight years now because they have nobody else opposite of him, he had his contract come up this offseason or to extend it, and they broke off talks because they couldn't agree to a deal. So when both of those guys, before the season started, put out on their Instagram, hey, this is the last dance. This is our going out party.
They were talking about Jordan's documentary. That's what they were talking about, watching it together. Right.
They got thoughts on Scottie Pippen, which we'll get to later. Yes. But both of those guys know, they see the writing on the wall. Look, in all likelihood, this is our last season together. Either one of us or both of us is going to be gone. So if you're a Green Bay and you know that your best chance to win a Super Bowl, probably conservatively, the next 10 years, because Jordan Love doesn't look to be that guy, and I don't know if you can just replace Davante Adams if he leaves, why would you not go all in? Why would you not say, you know what, we'll move things around, we'll convert this left tackle into a roster bonus so we can offer Odell, $2 million instead of $1 million or $3 million instead of $2 million, whatever the offer is. Whatever it takes to get him on your roster, because you know that this could be the last chance you have to make a Super Bowl run for the next 10 years.
All right. I mean, that's a fair argument, but I got one. I don't think that a receiver is a pressing need for the Green Bay Packers. I would take some more defensive players just to shore it up. I would do a lot of things. They run the ball well. You want some offensive lineman help. I don't know. I don't think wide receiver. They got a nice crew. Would you admit that? I'm not saying it wouldn't be better with OBJ.
I think they got Davante Adams, who is the best receiver in football.
Look, Lazard's pretty good, and Scantling is a good player as well. I mean, I know it's not the best trio.
It's an understatement.
Right, but I don't think it's a bad trio when you have a great quarterback. Here's the other part. How much does he want to come in and win and stop playing for also-ran quarterbacks? What does it mean to OBJ to go to a storied franchise to play with an all-world, the best quarterback I've ever seen, skill set? I'm not talking about, right? I'm not talking about accomplishments, right, Rob G?
Totally
Seriously,
agree.
skill set.
I've never seen anyone play the position better than him.
Nobody. And people could pick all the other guys, John Elway and Dan Marino, all that other stuff. No, Aaron Rodgers has touch. He has a strong arm. He can run for a first down. His accuracy, he has the best touchdown to interception ratio in the history of the NFL.
Best quarterback rating in the history of the NFL.
Yes. What doesn't he have? Okay, so skill set wise. So if you're Odell and you want to reestablish yourself in the league and make a name for yourself, can you imagine him going to Green Bay and making a big play or getting a couple of big touchdowns from Aaron Rodgers and being maybe a difference maker? And people going, OBJ went to Green Bay. The Packers have been to the NFC Championship game 2 years in a row. Couldn't get over the hump. They got OBJ, and guess what? They're in the Super Bowl. would that be worth it rather than waiting around for another $1 million or whatever for your ego? I think that the Packers broke ranks from what they normally do, Rob G, by even offering him a contract.
Yeah, no
right?
kidding.
Could you admit that?
That is true.
They don't normally. They'd be like, "No, we're good.
We're
not
sitting this
bringing
one
that
out.
guy."
You know,
yes.
It's midway through the season. We like our room. We're not going to jeopardize that.
For the Packers to even offer him a deal says a lot. He comes with a lot of baggage. So that's where I'm at. I think it was great that they made an offer. And I think if OBJ is smart and looks at the situations that, are there, Kansas City's struggling right now with Mahomes, and
New Orleans doesn't have a quarterback.
New Orleans doesn't have a quarterback, so New Orleans should be out unless you just want to go home and wear that uniform. The only place to me is the best is you finally get to work with the best quarterback in the league, and then having Devontae Adams on the other side. Who are you leaving open, Rob G?
I'll tell you what, I'm double teaming both of them and saying I'm daring you to run the ball.
Okay, well, there you go.